don't know who these people are that are requesting me.
I get this. Calm down. It's not happening. Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Suspicious.
And I'm Mrs. Rogers.
And we just got done seeing Toy Story 4, so we're going to give you a brief overview of what we thought about it, immediate thoughts. We literally are sitting out in the parking lot in the rain, so you might hear it, you might see it on our faces. We don't have any horrible diseases, I swear. It's just shadow from the light. It's hard to light the inside of a car. It really is hard to light it. So
I don't know why so many people do videos in their car, and I consistently think that, and then I'm like...
That's
oh, that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do, but we don't have anywhere else to film.
Okay.
These are just our general thoughts. We're going to keep it spoiler-free for you, but we are going to give you our feelings and what we liked and maybe didn't like so much about the movie, and hopefully it'll give you some sort of insight as to whether or not you want to see it yourself. So what did you think, like, overall? Overall,
I liked it. I tried to really not know anything about the movie. I didn't watch a lot of trailers. Okay. I enjoy the Toy Story franchise, but I am not a deep devoted fan like some people are. Like, I'm not emotionally
Let's compare it to Star Wars.
I mean, compared to Star Wars, I know.
Let me say, it has gone, we're heading on 2 minutes of recording, and there has not been a Star Wars. No, but I know that you were going to. I knew you were going to.
I was not going to.
You were definitely going to.
No, I was literally thinking, don't say Star Wars. I was going to say Paddington.
But you were thinking it.
I was thinking about Star Wars. I was going to say Paddington. So anyway. Fine. I'm not as deeply into the Toy Story franchise as I am Star Wars. Ugh, it's exhausting.
Woo! It's been a while since we've done one of these. Anyway,
but I did like it.
Yeah. Okay.
I did like it. I find that movies like this, as creative and as cute as they are, they have this constant nervous pulse because something is always going wrong, and how are you going to get out of this, and once this is fixed, then this has to be fixed, and then this problem happens, and I find that it's not a movie that I'm always in the mood for, because it's kind of just a journey of fixing problems constantly. And that's part of the fun of it, and the creativity is how they fix all the problems. But I went into it knowing, okay, this isn't going to just be something cute like Paddington. And like I still enjoyed it.
Adorable Star Wars.
There were no porgs, or Ewoks or Jawas.
So the thing to me with what you had just mentioned, that there's always a problem to solve, that is actually a central theme to this particular movie.
Right.
Which is intriguing because it's one of those things where it's always been present through all of the other films,
right, but
you didn't realize it until they actually bring your attention to it in this film. And I won't go into further detail, but it will come into prominence as you watch it. So I actually kind of like that because in a lot of senses, like, as an adult, it's super serious adults. Very
well, yes. High five!
There was a lot of comedy that that did appeal to adults, and also had a lot of themes that appealed to adults, in my opinion. So an example of that is always having a problem to solve. One thing I have always tried to keep in mind in my adult life is don't become your problems. Don't let an issue that you're focused on or something that is upsetting or distressing you become what identifies you. Because once it's gone, what do you do with yourself? And they touch on this during the film to some extent. And so it's interesting to see how it still appeals 100% to kids. It's 100% a kids movie. But they have done an excellent job of evolving this movie and this movie series with its audience.
100%.
Like, if you think about it, it's 2019, so we're going to be generous and say, no, it's accurate. It's 25 years.
Is it? I could not tell you when the first one came out.
1996 was the first one. So 20...
Not 5.
Oh,
23 years.
I can do math. I'm an adult.
I think I did it right. Now I'm second guessing myself.
Oh, great.
Oh,
now
my word.
Oh, my goodness.
The stress.
The people that saw this back in 96, they were kids. And now they're full-grown adults. And so it's like you're attached to these characters as much as the characters in the movie are attached to the toys.
Right.
So it's like they do this excellent job of just each time they bring you back to Toy Story, somehow tugging at the emotional heartstrings that are relevant to you at that time.
The storyline has grown with us.
With its audience, yeah.
And I actually even took a picture of our row. And pretty much, I think our entire row was all millennials.
Yeah.
At least they looked like they were in their 20s and 30s, late 20s and early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that spoke volumes to the audience and to who the story was attracting. And it as much as it is, yes, for the younger kids, it is just as much for our generation, because these are the stories that we did grow up on.
Yeah. And that's, interestingly enough, it touches base on another theme within the movie about the progression of moving forward in one's life.
Right.
Where we're attached to these characters and we really like honestly, if they kept making Toy Story movies, I'd keep watching them. I mean, they're entertaining, they're enjoyable. I love the characters. But they also really, especially with the third one and now this one, they really touch on the idea that it's okay for your life to evolve. That doesn't mean that you're giving up or that you left something behind or that you abandoned something or don't care. It's just that things change. Life changes in some way, and maybe something that is in that change is better for you than something that you're stuck with. So in a way, it's almost like even this movie franchise where they take this movie, we always consider it, this is ours.
Right.
We grew up with this is our movie franchise. And then you like think about it, even if you bring a kid with you to see this movie,
you feel like you are watching.
You're like, you're not going to understand the depth of this film like I did. I grew up with these movies.
Yeah.
I grew up with these Star Wars. Sorry, these Toy Story. These Toy Story movies.
Word.
I grew up with these Toy Story movies, so these kids could have no understanding of the emotional impact it has on my life because I grew up with them.
Right.
But they, like when it comes to the movie, it's like, well, okay, they probably relate more to the kids that are in there, like just starting to learn about them and just learning about the new toys that they get to play with and everything. There's a lot of layers and depth.
There's a lot of layers, yes.
That you would never even think in the fourth movie of a series.
Yep.
That it would have this much depth.
Probably about 3/4 of the way through, I was thinking about what is the overall theme of this film? And I thought, well, there's that, and there's that, and there's that. And I was like, this is very intricate. But that's what's nice about it, is that it is not a film that is trying to hit just one particular audience. They are able to capture the attention of a lot of different age groups. There were some themes in there that really, I was like, you know what, that's a really good point. And I'm not going into any of the plot, obviously, because we don't want to give away any spoilers. And then there were a couple others, I was like, okay, that's meaningful, but that doesn't kind of touch where I am. But I realized, but that would mean something to someone going through maybe this particular phase in life. Pixar and their story writers, they just do a really great job.
Yeah, I'm actually genuinely curious to see whether they want to continue this story or not, because honestly, I will say the ending. I
could see it go either way.
Yeah, I mean, like the ending felt to me a bit abrupt. This movie is actually only an hour and 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it has to be kept short for kids,
right,
to some extent. But overall, it's weird because I feel like it was a really good length because it didn't drag at any one point. It didn't feel as though like there was any pointless like scene or something that didn't appeal to people in some way. It didn't feel bloated, but at the same time I found myself wanting more.
A few of the new characters were very funny.
Yeah.
And I think that to add kind of depth to the story, I would have liked some longer scenes with them.
Yeah.
I don't even know what, this isn't giving anything away, what the two birds, did they have names?
It was Bunny, and
Oh, was he a bunny?
yeah, he was,
He
a bunny.
a bird.
Oh boy,
The
so
chicken,
I'm
the
gonna give
bunny.
you these because you need them.
I don't.
Well, if you thought that bunny was a chicken,
In my defense, it was not the color of a bunny, it was the color of a bird.
I mean, it was a blue bunny.
It was a blue bunny. I'm sorry. Anyway, I would have loved to have seen them, some longer scenes with them, because they were hysterical.
Yeah.
They were very funny.
And they also had a lot of different characters that they were touching base on. It almost felt like, in a weird way, it almost felt like Endgame or Infinity War for Toy Story, because there's so many branching storylines. And I was just like, how are they going to button this up? And like Endgame, they figured out a way to do that. But I will say it left me wanting. That's not a bad thing. It just left me wanting more, because I want more time with these characters and more time with their storylines to some extent.
And the original characters.
Yeah.
They did spend, which was maybe part of the point, was they spent a lot of time and attention on the newer ones. Of course, you have Woody and Buzz, and they will always be the central, and 100% they were the central, but all of these new characters surrounding them, I did miss the back and forth between the old ones. Like, I adore Rex, and I just think he's hysterical, and there was so little of, like, Mr. Potato Head, and I did leave the movie missing that.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that I saw more of the originals.
That's where I think that it kind of leaves it open once more for a sequel to potentially come up in the future, or just leave it behind, where they can touch base on their story as it progresses forward. I know that a lot of people have soured on Pixar in a lot of ways, because, like, for example, they got up to Cars 3, and it is difficult to have a premise for a
I never
movie
saw
series.
after the first one.
Okay, so I didn't think they were bad.
Okay.
Then again, I really like animated movies, so I
loved the first one so much. I was honestly nervous that the next two would kind of ruin it.
The second one is spy themed. It's pretty fun.
Oh, okay.
And then the third one is actually kind of a similar thing with Toy Story, where they kind of touch base on, like, what would Lightning McQueen do as he gets older. He's not, like, ancient or anything like that.
I didn't even realize that there was a third one.
Yeah, there's a third one. Yeah, no, I'm sad for you. What? How many stars?
You have 1 million skeleton hands on your shirt.
I've worn this shirt like 3 times when we've done reviews.
No.
Yeah. In fact, I bet you probably the one before the one before this one is going to probably have this shirt in it. I was just thinking that. I was just like, oh, every time we've done a review, I like wear this shirt. I didn't mean to.
Stop it.
Wow, she did.
I'm dead. So are all of the hands on your shirt.
I think that they just have this awesome IP with Toy Story and an awesome storytelling ability with it. It's just something that's naturally evolved, and the fact that they've gotten 4 movies in and it's still got these fabulous ratings on like Rotten Tomatoes and everything, it's just a testament.
And I think one of the things is that they have taken their time to make the next film. And I think that a lot of movies suffer when they're just trying to produce them so quickly.
Right.
And it's like, no, really, I would rather you take an extra year and solidify a solid story than just kind of get something out quickly and now I'll watch it once and I'm not going to buy it.
Right.
But something that I will watch again, I will buy that movie.
Yeah.
And so something like the Toy Story films, because they take their time, they're 100%, in my opinion, worth buying. Finding Nemo to Finding Dory.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the amount of comments online I was seeing, like, you little 8-year-olds, don't you dare cut ahead of me in line. I've been waiting for 20 years or 15 years or whatever. And I was like, oh my word, that's so true. Like, I remember when Finding Nemo came out, and I adored the film. And when Finding Dory came out, and we watched that one together, and these little kids, and I was like, you don't know. You don't know.
See?
And it was like
See,
to
this
have the
movie's for
first
you.
one. Yeah.
The Toy Story 4 is for her. I feel like they don't waste their effort with telling a bad story.
Right.
People
Thank God, because I do not have time.
That's true.
For
but I mean, like,
cheesy entertainment.
But that's the thing. Even if it is cheesy entertainment, the big point is it's entertaining. There's entertainment in these movies.
Right.
Even if you don't like the subject matter, or you think they're corny or whatever it is, the fact is, like, they speak to a lot of different people on a lot of different levels, and the fact that they are able to keep coming out and consistently churning out these films that are excellently reviewed and people go to see them in droves is just a testament to what they do as a company. So, like, I'm super impressed that we've gotten 4 movies in, potentially might have more in the future, and it's still just as entertaining to me. Sorry if you dislike Pixar recently or what they do, that's your opinion, but me, like, they're still the gold standard of animated films.
100%.
And even even most storytelling. The one thing that I think that we were just talking about the remakes that Disney has been churning out recently.
We do have different opinions.
We do have differing opinions on this one.
I love them.
She loves them. I don't really have an interest in seeing them. I mean, it's not that It's not that I won't see them, but for example, like, the only one that I've really had an interest in was The Jungle Book, and I actually really enjoyed that one because I didn't have an attachment to the first film. The first one was
have an attachment to the first film.
I thought it was a really weird, meandering storyline in a way.
My sister loved that movie so much. She watched it all the time.
It's not me. Willy Wonka was mine. The original one was
That movie scared me.
It kind of shows the difference in person.
And then the tunnel, and they like chop off the chicken's head.
They chop off the chicken's head. I will say, like, I guess to kind of button things up, this is 100% a worthwhile film to go check out if you have been invested in Toy Story for all these years. It will not disappoint you, or at least I don't think it would. I think that you may end up wanting more. I mean, I do. I've been a big fan of the series, and I would love to see more of the films. But again, I don't want them to do it if it was just because it does well financially. I want them to have a good story.
Needs to be a good story.
I'm attached to these characters. Right. But I will say that if they don't do a sequel, then you will still be satisfied with where they leave it.
Right.
And so I don't know. I feel like you should give it an old college try.
The old college.
Turn this around, Wonka!
Now I am gonna be sick. Try, and even if you have never gotten into the Toy Story movies, I think it is worth going back, watching the original, and then I love the second one, actually.
The second one's great.
I really like this.
Everything's a buck at the very end.
I love the second one. I didn't love the third one as much. I liked this one better than the third one.
One thing I did want to mention, what is it with every one of these movies, though, having some form of evil toy or evil, like, being?
Oh my word! There were a couple of, one time in particular, we were just like, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
Like, they do a...
For a rated G movie, there was an awful lot of times I was like, for me, I disliked a couple characters at first.
As it went along.
Yeah, it progressed and my opinion changed. And that's good because that's how it should be. Mm-hmm. Like, first impressions are a real thing, but the more you get to know somebody, which should also be a thing, like, you should get to know them, kind of hear their story, figure out where they're from, and then more understanding should come into the picture, and then some grace and, all that kind of stuff. And I found myself feeling that way towards the characters. Like, at first I was like, oh my word, you're so dumb. And then I was like, oh no, I get it. You're conflicted.
So it's your understanding that you came to an understanding with these characters?
What? You're not going to be surprised that I'm plugging this. The soundtrack was brilliant. I loved the sound. You didn't like the soundtrack?
I didn't say I didn't like the soundtrack.
You had a look on your face.
I did find it a bit. To be honest with you, I found it a bit unmemorable.
I thought that the little flute melody was gorgeous. I can't remember how it was.
I will say that the music enhanced what I saw, but nothing.
Oh, I love the music because the toys are so quiet. Like, they're not like people that are or like the dinosaurs, in Jurassic World. You can hear them a mile away. They're so quiet. And so the music just so beautifully communicated whether the scene was funny or the scene was stressful. Like, for example, in the very beginning, not the very, very beginning, but when Bonnie goes to daycare, my first thought was, oh my word, is this going to be another really stressful thing? But the music was so light and easy to listen to, and it just kind of communicated the toys' quick little journey there. I wasn't stressed out at all, and I was like, this is so nice. I love this soundtrack.
I'm so stressed out.
Beautiful. No, I was not stressed out. I was the opposite of stressed
I know.
out.
I'm joking.
You're stressing me out.
I'm joking. Plug back. The fact of animation, again, I love to look at animation. Everything in this, I mean, it still felt unrealistic, but realistic at the same time.
Yeah.
The characters look cartoony enough that you distinctly felt like you were looking at a cartoon, but like the characters
felt like you could touch them.
Yeah,
still at the same
the characters
time.
had weight that like Forky, who's in the previews.
Yep.
There are times like with his animations and motions that it felt like it literally was a spork being dragged along on two little wooden sticks, and it was just like the sound design mixed with everything. It just fit like you could tell that like Rex had like a big chunky weight to him because he's hard, heavy plastic, whereas Woody's got like little plastic elements, but he's got like a cloth flappiness to it. And and I will say that they fortunately enough did not get rid of Woody's spastic animations since the first movie. That's how he always has moved, and I love that they did not make that evolve. Well done on animations, well done on music, well done on film.
Yep.
We both seem to...
Yeah, I liked it.
We both are giving it a good recommendation.
No Star Wars.
Oh my god.
But I still liked it.
Anyway, go check it out while you can. Even if it comes out on video, you'll still get enjoyment out of it. And this has been our little snapshot review. Hope you'll tune in for the next one. And we're going to be doing a couple little format changes in the near future that we think you'll enjoy.
We'll switch things up
but for now, we will leave you with that, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you next time.
Right, bye.
Bye.
This is kind of strange.
Yeah, strange, Charlie, but it's fun.